Oh man. Oh man, man, man. I was so disappointed. I was. Because someone sent me the CNN one. I forgot her name. I forgot the lady's name, but I think she's Asian American or Asian. I'm not certain. But wow, wow, wow. I was blown away. But you see, and this was one of the things that I was speaking with the Chinese embassy in Antigua and Barbuda. The ladies are from China, right? And they work in the embassy. This is the first conversation, face-to-face conversation I'm having with them. And they told me, listen, I'm sure you're going to hear a lot of things about China, but the only thing we can ask is for you to go with an open mind. And you can be objective. You can be a journalist. You can think critically about what you're hearing and the different messages that you're hearing. But when I heard some of the other reports from the BBC, from the CNN, from those, and I was like, was that the same press conference I was in? I've never met the foreign minister. This is the first time I'm seeing him visibly, other than seeing, on television and news media and all of that. Listen, I was taken aback by some of the reports that came out of that media, especially from the US market. I could not believe. It was a contentious, he was combative. I was like, what? What? Where did that come from? I respected the CNNs, the NBCs, and those were the standard that you looked up to, the BBCs. Those were coming from where I'm from, those were the standards that you look up to. But I'm thinking, wait a minute. I was in that press conference the other day, and I was like, wow. How could they spin that way internationally? If you're not here, of course, China is ready to have a conflict with the US. And I'm like, what? No, and he listen, and I wrote it down, I made sure I wrote it down so I don't forget it. And he said, the relationship should be on a common interest of both peoples. That should determine the US and China relations, not the politics and threat for inflation, mutual respect. Wow. Where's the conflict? Where's the conflict in that? You know what I mean? And I heard, I heard a lot of other things. And you remember, he gave an analogy as well. And he had the analogy about the Olympic athletes, the athletes running down a thing. And on competitiveness, yes, they can compete. You can choose, you can say that you're better at this. I can say I'm better at this. I'm going to achieve this. And we can compete on a competitive level. But he was saying that if they outcompete them, fine. If China outcompetes the US, yes, let's do that. Because that's what it's built on. Not built on the US trying to contain and suppress China. And that's not what it should be. And listen, when I heard him say that, right? And he had another analogy, being the former Chinese ambassador to the US. And he was mentioning about the young boy in Ohio. And I'm like, where was that? Where was that in the reporting? That had nowhere a part of the reporting. The sensationalism that they took from that whole thing about him being combative and him being listen, I couldn't even find the words. I could not believe these were the news stations that we used to look up to. You know what I mean? So now we're having the idea that, China is such a bad country. China don't want peace in the world. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I picked up on all the speeches. They're trying to world peace. World peace. I didn't get the persona that they wrote about, that news stations wrote about. I got a calm person just delivering where China's foreign policy is. He touched on global governance and all, developing countries a better life and giving them a louder voice in international affairs, which will come back to us, the developing countries. And if China wants that for us, of course, we would want that for ourselves.